Good morning, everybody. So wonderful to be with you again this morning. And for those during the day, hopefully having a wonderful day. You know, a lot of people are starting to go out. It began yesterday. I was driving home and I saw during the flyover cars and hundreds of people are outside lined up on 332. This morning I drove and I see there are more cars that come to the office a little later than usual, but it's nice to see that people are starting to move again. Hopefully, everyone is maintaining their social distancing and guidelines. We must be very careful, but there's something in the air that things are beginning to change, and that's wonderful. I still think we're in this for a little bit, at least I think till the end of the month, but there's shift, there's a break, there's hope, and that's a wonderful thing. So enjoy the day, enjoy the movement in society, and let's keep building on that positive energy. Today we have a great story, a story that actually has some undertones and a little bit of a connection to what we're all going through today. And I'll share that with you a little later, the connection. But it's a story with a very, very powerful theme. But before I begin the story, I want to tell you that I'm going to ask you a trivia question at the end of the story. I'm going to ask you a trivia question to see something, and we'll jog some people's memories. But right before we begin the story, I also want to mention about the comments. If you would like to ask or share something with everybody, please post a comment or just let me know you're here, either on Facebook or YouTube. And I'll be checking. And if there's something that somebody wants to share as a connection to the theme, I will look at this again later on towards the end of the broadcast. So, good morning, everybody. I see you're on YouTube. I see you here on Facebook. Let's begin. So, the topic. What's the topic of today's story is, I saw this great saying the other day. There are two types of people. The people that keep dreaming and the people that get out of bed to chase their dream. Which basically you have people that are always dreaming, but people that get it done. Today's story introduces us to a third type of person, a person who chases their dream, but keeps dreaming as well. And this is a story of a mother and 3 children in 1944. There was a big hunger then in Russia, resulting from the war and just elements of the reality. And I think we can a little bit relate to when we are all of a sudden plagued and things are taken away from us. And at that time was hunger. Thank God we don't have hunger today. But then it was hunger, and it killed thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. In this particular individual, he was a great Hasidic rabbi, a Torah giant, came from a whole lineage of generations of rabbis, a very illustrious leader in his community. And he was struck by this hunger, and he passed away. And he left his wife, a widow, with 3 young children. And this woman was very concerned, obviously. How is she going to survive the war-torn Russia with 3 little kids? She was very, very overwhelmed by this. And in particular, she was overwhelmed as how is she going to educate her children? She wasn't living in a particularly Jewish area at that time in Russia, and the father was the one who was educating the children. But she was not the one that had that capacity, in just from her temperament, to be able to give her boys the education that they needed. What was she going to do? And this concerned her so well, both of physical survival and their spiritual survival. As she's overwhelmed by this, a chassid was traveling through her city, a chassid who lived in the faraway city of Samarkand, which was a very large Jewish community and observant Jewish community. It's like Brooklyn, for us living out here in Bucks County, at least before Lubavitch came here. And she begs this chassid, please take at least my 2 older children, take my 2 sons, take them with you, so you can give them the education at the yeshiva, at the school there. See, today we know about boarding schools, but today boarding schools usually is the privilege of maybe wealthy kids. But back then, it wasn't the privilege of wealthy families for the Jewish community. Parents would send their children away so they can, with great heartache, so that they can maintain the Jewish faith and the Jewish tradition. And this chassid finally accepts this responsibility to take these two children. The oldest was Baruch, the second child was Isaac, and take them to Samarkand so they can have a Jewish education. Now she was left with her younger son Yankel. A year went by, and she realizes, although Yankel is just 8 years old, this is not a place for him to live. At that time, Stalin's propaganda was just spreading everywhere. There was really no remnant of Jewish life. Jews were either killed by the Nazis or the Russians, or they were just totally assimilated. And she knew that this little boy, who was very impressionable, brilliant child, needed to have a greater, stronger foundation if there was hope for him to continue the great traditions. And reluctantly, as a chassid was traveling again through her city, this time was a different chassid, she begged him, please take him and join him with her brothers in Samarkand. Yankel was only 8 years old, little boy. He didn't want to leave his mommy. That's all he had. His daddy was killed, and now he has to leave his mommy. And he was crying. He says, "Ich will nicht gehen. I don't want to go. I don't want to leave you, mommy." And the mother hugs the child and says, "Yankel, I promise you, as soon as things are settled down and I'm able to travel, I'm going to come to you and be with you. But for now, please go with this chassid." And Yankel, with all his tears, leaves his mother, barely is able to rip himself out of her hands, and goes to Samarkand to start his Jewish education. A few months later, this mother is able to travel to Samarkand to reunite with her family. She comes to the train station in Samarkand, and she figures she'll find a way to where her son is living. And she was shocked. Her son was right there, waiting for her with open hands, says, "Mommy, mommy." And he grabs her and he hugs her. And she hugs him back. And that's the emotion, you can imagine the emotions at that time. As it calms down, she says, "Yankel, how did you know? How did you know that I'm going to come today? I wanted to surprise you." And here Yankel tells his mother, "Mommy, you promised me you were going to come. So I came every day, every morning to the train station to see if you were going to be here. And thankfully I was here when you came." That's a boy who has a dream and makes it happen. That's the story of our Jewish history. We have a promise. We know a truth. We don't let the circumstances say that, that's just theoretical, that's abstract, that's not practical. For this little boy, Yankel, his mother's promise was real. And he never gave up that hope and that dream to meet his mom. And not only didn't he give up his hope and his dream to meet his mom, he acted on it. He lived it because it was real. And that's why he was able to meet his mom at that moment when she walked off the train. This story came to my mind recently because this Yankel grew up to be a great Torah scholar, a great rabbi. He was a great rabbi who was actually a leading rabbi at the Lubavitch community in Crown Heights. And the reason why his name came up recently is because during this plague of Corona, unfortunately, his life was taken. And on the list of prayer, I kept seeing Harav Yaakov ben Bunya. Bunya was his courageous mother, who, because of her courage, was able to raise these three wonderful children who each became great leaders in their community. His mother had a dream and acted on it. The children acted on their dreams. So it's not just about having a dream or chasing a dream. It's about while you're chasing your dream and making things happen, never give up on the bigger picture and keep dreaming while you chase it. And this is the message we should impart. Because it's not just his story. It's not just the story of the Jewish people. It's our story. We all have dreams. We all have things we want to accomplish, good things, powerful things, positive things. But sometimes we give up. We say it can't happen. Either we're not capable, or others don't want to be capable. I want to do this great thing. I want to build this relationship, but that other person doesn't want. We can always have reasons to put away our dreams. Or we can pick ourselves up and get up every morning and go to that train station and have faith in that dream. So I want all of us to choose one of those dreams that we have given up on, because whatever excuse, and make sure it happens. And I'm thinking of one of those right now. And I'm going to make sure today that I pick up the phone and try to make something happen. Because there's a saying, if you want to make great things happen, you got to begin. And let's begin to make the dreams, to make the things that we think are out of touch, make them in touch by the small things that will eventually lead us to that big day. My friends, very powerful story, something to think about. This is the trivia question. What year did I share this story at my Rosh Hashanah sermon? Now, I see everybody who's on here, and not everybody has been around for a long time listening to my sermons. But if anyone could tell me what year I did this in the Rosh Hashanah sermon, I won't give you $1 million, but you'll be worth $1 million to me. So think about it, jog your memory. But regardless of when I delivered in the sermon, I believe it's power of the message today. And on that trivia question note, I want to remind everybody of the great community program we have, which is JText. And every Sunday and Wednesday today at 7:00 p.m., if you register, you will get a text. We have over 50 people in our community doing this already. It's a very quick, exciting way to learn, to engage, not to feel alone. And at 7 p.m., you get a text, and the seventh person who answers it correctly wins a prize, a bottle of wine. And I'm going to start announcing the winners here. Sunday's winner was Uri Ben Abu, who was the seventh person who actually answered the question correctly, and he'll be enjoying a bottle of wine for Shabbat. So not too late. You can always join. Go to jewishcenter.info/jtext. There you have instructions. Please follow the instructions, and if you do it on time, you'll be part of the group tonight. And if you miss today's deadline, you'll definitely be part of the group every day. You don't have to register every time. Register once, and you'll be getting that text. So hopefully you'll continue this exciting journey as we're all experiencing these extraordinary times. And for now, I'm going to sign off and wish you all a wonderful, great day. And really start chasing that dream, because every great thing starts by beginning. Have a wonderful.
Hello.